I'm Dr. Liz Stafford, and this is Primary Music in Conversation. This episode of Primary Music in Conversation is proudly sponsored by Da Capo Online. Da Capo Online provides an award-winning curriculum for Foundation and Key Stage 1 which children are loving. For a free trial, visit dacapoonline.co.uk. Welcome to the very first episode of Season 3. I'm delighted that our very first guest is going to be Will Reeves from Cropredy C Primary School in Oxfordshire. Will has taken a really interesting approach to the curriculum using folk music and particularly folk music connections within the local area to revitalise what they were doing at the school in terms of music through partnerships with Fairport Convention and also with Oxfordshire County Council Music Service. I know you're going to find this a really fascinating listen. So welcome, Will, to Primary Music in Conversation. Could you just introduce yourself for our listeners, please?
Of course. My name is Will Reeves. I am the head teacher at Cropredy C Primary School, which is part of the EPA Trust. We are a primary school in the north of Oxfordshire, and as well as being the head teacher in numerous other different roles, one of my many hats is that I am the music lead at school as well.
So I'm guessing you're quite a small school if you're...
Yeah, we're a one-form entry primary school all the way through. We are on roll around about 160. So yeah, not huge.
So you're doing a teaching role as well, are you, as well as being head teacher? And
so I do teach as well. Yeah, I do teach as well. I am very much of the opinion that I am modelling to other teachers what I would expect them to be doing. So yes, I do teach as well all day on a Tuesday.
Fantastic. It's always good to, we've had one other person in this kind of similar position on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's always good to kind of get that perspective where in one body there's like SLT and there's the music subject lead and there's actual teaching experience. It always makes it really interesting. So
it is a really interesting one. I could give you a list of all of my roles like EBC and behaviour and pupil premium, but we'd be here forever. But it's the joy of the job and we do love it.
And so what's your area like? Are you fairly rural or are you in a town or?
So we're a couple of miles outside of Banbury, which is a town. We are relatively rural, but it's sort of it's close enough to Banbury so that we can access some of the facilities there. But so we have some families that come from there, but the vast majority are from Cropredy or surrounding areas, which are pretty rural.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. And I think you mentioned to me when we had our chat, when we were arranging the podcast, that you've got a canal or a river at the back of your school, is that right?
Yeah, we do, yeah. So we are really, really fortunate with the grounds that we have as part of the school. So we've obviously got a lovely school building, but then on the back of the school, we've got a huge field, which then has a forest school at the back, which is obviously a really big part of our curriculum. And that's something I've developed over the course of my time at school. And then following on from that, we have a canal, which the children learn about as part of their topic, but also our children go out and explore, including some PE lessons where we do things a little bit differently and we take them out onto the canal and do some kayaking, canoeing as well. So yeah, it's good. We incorporate it all into what we do at school.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And it's a little bit unusual. And I guess your approach to music is a little bit unusual as well in terms of the kind of the genre that you've chosen to sort of interweave into your curriculum.
Absolutely. But I think it's key to the community of Cropredy. And one of the things you might know about Cropredy, if you know nothing else, is that there is a huge folk festival which happens in the area. So my big sort of push when I came to the school was in some way, shape or form, we need to try and incorporate folk into either the curriculum, the teaching, into the school in some way, shape or form. And that's just a journey that's sort of developed over the time that I've been here, really.
Or talk us through that a little bit more. How did it all start?
Okay, so like I say, some people might know Cropredy for nothing other than the folk festival. So I felt it was important to sort of weave it into the curriculum. So alongside some peers at Oxfordshire County Music Service, I got in contact and I said, look, this is the position we're in. I want to try and incorporate and embed folk music teaching into the everyday life of children when they come to Cropredy. It's such a huge part of the community, and also folk music culture. We need to try and embed that into our curriculum. So before I'd actually officially started, I got in contact and got the ball rolling on a couple of things. And that was one of the things that happened, where it was agreed that in the September we would roll that out for the children. In what we do is we do it for years 4 and year 6, where once a week we have an amazing folk musician who comes in and delivers folk music teaching to our year 4s and year 6s. Her name's Katie Harris. She's amazing. And alongside myself, we put together a curriculum where the children learn about folk music, how it came into fruition, the importance of things like sea shanties, and then talking a little bit more about getting the children engrossed in the folk music that is surrounding of the school, building up to the children getting ready to perform at the festival. So the children have this sort of underlying message of folk all the time now. When they're at school, they come into assembly listening to folk music. It's talked about when we do singing assemblies once a week. We also have an amazing TA called Louisa Smith, Mrs. Smith, who is fantastic, who's helped me develop the music curriculum a little bit more. And our curriculum now weaves into the topics that the children are learning about, not necessarily about folk. So, for example, in year 5, at the start of the year, when they learn about World War II, the children are exposed to the importance of song and music throughout the course of World War II, whether it be for morale or, propaganda, whatever the reason might be. Actually, they learn about the reason for it and then go on to perform and look at some of the songs. So yeah, it's something that sort of is the underlying heartbeat of the school. I felt it was important to incorporate because of the importance of folk to the community. And I genuinely feel that trips and experiences are something that children should experience every day. And whether it's the experience of playing in front of 7,000 people at Fairport Convention, it's that, or it's topic-based learning where they go to the Imperial War Museum, they go to the Chedworth Roman Villa, they go to Bournemouth, to the seaside. So every year group incorporates that learning into trips and experiences. I think that's what really brings the learning home to the children. And we've seen it made a huge difference over the course of the time that sort of 18 months or so that I've been at the school.
It's a big undertaking, though, I suppose, especially with all the other things you're doing, to try and kind of keep the progression when you're kind of sometimes somebody else is leading it. And so is it the class teachers teaching their own music apart from in the bits where you've got your folk specialist?
Most of the time, yes. So we're also really lucky in that when employing people that sort of, not necessarily music, but things that are a little bit unique, are skills that I've been looking for. And we have a new year 6 teacher who is a specialist in music. We have a TA who is a specialist in music. We also have other members of staff who are great at other things. But it's things that I've tried to sort of look for with music in mind, as it being such an important part of sorting everything out, so that there is the right provision in place for the children. I think we've seen immeasurable results for it. We've seen real engagement with the local community and parents being involved in it. The Fairport Convention and I and the organisers of the festival have been in touch regularly in terms of building up to that, and that's something we're doing again this year, which is fantastic. And like I say, for children, yes, we focus on maths and English and working hard. And, I could sit here and tell you that we were the top performing school in North Oxfordshire last academic year, which we were. But actually, school to me is about a lot more than that. It's about the experiences and opportunities, especially with music, with it being so prominent in the area, that we can expose those children to.
Do you think Do you think the children understand how special those opportunities are, or do you think they just are like, oh, well, this is just what we do?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question. So it's something that we have tried to sort of give them a little bit of exposure to. This isn't a normal thing that would happen at a school. There isn't many opportunities where you would get this. Um, but I think we highlight it weekly in assemblies that we're playing folk music because this is an area surrounded by historical importance of that genre of music. And its exposure to a really sort of perhaps a bit different genre of music to one that they might be listening to at home, but actually it's a really important one. And I think it's important that children learn about where they come to school and the importance of the area. And we also link it into lots of different things, such as Fairport Convention have a song about the Battle of Cropredy Bridge, which is a Civil War battle which happened just around the corner from the school. So as part of their learning, one of the year groups in the summer term go out onto the fields where the Battle of Cropredy Bridge happened. They analyse things like sources around where groups like Fairport Convention have written a song about something historical. They analyse the importance of it, the accuracy of those things. So there is ways in which we've tried to incorporate music into the curriculum in a slightly different way. We want children to think a little bit outside the box and analyse and question things and deepen their understanding of the learning that's going on.
And do they generally react well to folk music, or do
Yeah,
you get any pushback?
no, we don't really get any pushback. The lessons at the start of the year for year six are sort of, I don't really know what it is, but actually as what you generally tend to see, which is brilliant, and one of the reasons why I'd hugely encourage everybody to sort of run with these things is the interactions and engagements you get with the children from the lessons, especially as the weeks go on. And as a teacher, I really try and focus on my teachers having really good relationships and understanding of those children. And by having that exposure to seeing those children in a different light, you very much get an understanding of what makes those children tick and how they learn, perhaps in a different way to the conventional sitting in the classroom.
Mm. And how do you balance, because obviously the national curriculum, or the current national curriculum, says you've got to listen to music from a wide range of genres and styles. It sounds like you're doing a lot of folk music. How do you kind of balance with other forms of music within the curriculum?
So we absolutely do that. We incorporate different styles throughout the course of the curriculum. So in Key Stage 1 and early years, they really focus on the real basic vocabulary around music, what music is, what makes something music, how it can bring interpretation to people. And then as they make their way through the school, we really focus on specific units on different genres of music, not just folk, be it pop music, be it a particular type of song, that be it electronic music that they're going to use the computers to do. And I think it's just important that they have a really broad spectrum of music, but understand the importance of folk to the local area. I would probably equate it to RE, where we're a C of E school, so we really focus on Christianity as one of our religions. However, it's important that the children learn about all other world religions, because that is the world in which they are going out to. They need an understanding of what is happening when other children they meet might be observing Ramadan or that sort of thing. And it's important for the children to be prepared and ready for the world in which they're going out into once they leave us.
Oh, I absolutely, totally agree. Music's a fantastic way to do that, actually, in a kind of subtle, not in your face way, and just
Yeah.
hear lots of different types of cultures that all like different things, and they're all equally valid and equally worthy of respect.
Absolutely, and we've been fortunate that, like I say, I've got specialist people here who've come in alongside work for myself, but we're really lucky that the trust we're part of, the EPA Trust, are a real big advocate of this. They haven't, put a stop to anything. They've actually actively encouraged it. Encouraged me to reach out to the local community, embrace the folk music that went on here before I came here, and actually highlight the importance, because really what you've got is the next group of people who are part of this folk music community coming through and contributing towards this to the local community. You know, it's pretty cool for kids who come here to say, you know, they might go to the Cropredy's Fairport Convention in sort of 15 years time and be able to say to their friends, oh, that's where I played there, you know, with school and done this, that, and the other. That's just such a brilliant thing for them to be able to say and do. And I just think those experiences are the bits that you remember from school. You know, you don't necessarily remember how to form you don't remember how you're taught to form a sentence. You might, though, remember the big things that have made a real big difference for you. And like you said, mentioned before about pushback, I'm not saying that every child going forward needs to be a folk musician, but they can understand the importance of it to us in our area. You know, whether they move abroad or stay locally, they will always have those memories and experiences that have gone with them and help to sort of broaden their horizons.
And in terms of kind of broadening of horizons, how much kind of extracurricular stuff do you have kind of beyond the folk program? You know, have you got instrumental lessons? Have you got choirs and things happening?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have both those things. We have individual folk music lessons. We do have a choir, as I mentioned. We have a designated assembly every week where we focus on singing, but it isn't just all about music. It's about the whole experience for those children. So we incorporate a lot of things into our curriculum that are slightly different, which allow the teachers' own characters to shine through. So, for example, our curriculum, they are given a progressive curriculum, which I would want them to deliver, but the way in which they choose to deliver them is totally up to them. So if you are a teacher who has a real sort of passion for drama or art or music, you can teach those statements on the curriculum using those aspects if you want to. If you know your class really well and you can engage them through song or through art, you can teach, as long as the learning is about that thing. How you choose to teach it is totally up to you. And we have that. It gives their teachers a little bit more creative license to flourish and encourage that learning in a different way. We obviously follow a cognitive science approach in terms of those lessons. So we follow Rosenstein principles in the lessons structure in terms of supporting those teachers' flow of the lessons. And that's something that the EPA Trust have developed a lot over the course of the last couple of years, and working alongside myself. And then we're in a position now where we're able to sort of give teachers that sort of creative rein to really, really showcase their talents, but also really focus the learning on a specific area that is engaging for the children. We want the children to be engaged, not just compliant. They are really good kids here, but we don't just want them to be compliant. We want them to be engaged in what they're doing.
It's really encouraging to hear that you've got the support of the trust to do that, because often when I have conversations about schools who've joined trust with music, it's they're making us all do the same scheme and we all have to teach the same lesson the same week, otherwise we all get in trouble.
Absolutely. And I think I can't underestimate the importance of the trust in sort of backing what it is that I've decided to do here. It's probably possibly a little bit rogue. But at the same time, we are seeing real positive results. We are, as I said, we are the top achieving school at the end of Key Stage 2 for North Oxfordshire. So yes, not just in music, we also achieve well, but we do other things that are perhaps slightly different. As I mentioned before, we have a forest school program where every year group throughout the school utilises the forest school throughout the course of the year. We teach Mandarin as a modern foreign language. Again, broadening those horizons for those children, so when they get out into the real world, they can actually, perhaps, hopefully have a conversation and communicate with people. We also teach kayaking, canoeing, as I mentioned before, on the canals at the back of our school. So there is just constant, experiences that those children have that are enhancing everyday learning. And I expect the children to behave. I expect them to work really hard, and those expectations are incredibly high. But with that comes a real program, a real curriculum that can really broaden their horizons to the world that we live in.
It fascinates me that you've got this like really local sort of approach to music, and then you're
Yeah,
doing Mandarin as your
yeah.
modern foreign language, about as far away as you could possibly get.
Yeah, I mean, but again, we're prepared. Our curriculum is designed so that it's specific for the children that are here, but also preparing them for the outside world. We are, a very, very tight-knit community here at Cropredy, but it's not something that we acknowledge. We don't ignore the rest of the world. We want to embrace it and understand what is going on, and how certain things work, because you don't want them to have preconceived ideas about things, or pick up wrong information. The children come to school to be educated, and we want them to be educated in all of these things. Mandarin's a really important life skill. Again, that's something where the trust have worked alongside myself in order to sort of branch that out. And we aren't the only school in the area now doing that. The other schools that are part of the EPA Trust are doing that. And that's something that's grown and developed alongside language specialists. So it's really good. And as we speak, actually now we've got the Mandarin teaching happening. So it's happening. The children are engaged in all areas of the curriculum. And again, I'm not suggesting they have to be specialists, but it's exposure to these things so that they are aware of their surroundings in the world.
Mm. It's already got my brain buzzing, thinking there must be loads of folk music links with like China, and like, oh, you could come full circle if you tried hard enough.
You absolutely could. Yeah, you absolutely could. And there is, potentially more scope in the future for us to go a little bit further afield with this. But I came into the school about 18 months ago, and with the support of the trust, who've been brilliant, we have completely overhauled the curriculum to incorporate all of these things. But I've been encouraged to do it, not to step away from it or say, don't do it. It's actually, do you know what, embrace these things, go with it. And if you think it's right for the community at school, then absolutely, you're enhancing these children's lives immeasurably. These are brilliant experiences for our children, and we are really thankful for the community who supported me in, getting these things off the ground, and perhaps gone with these ideas that probably a bit out there. But again, it shows because our children are achieving well at the end of their schooling journey here.
Mm. It just makes me wonder, actually, because obviously you're like in the sort of thick of just having revised the curriculum, essentially.
Yeah.
I imagine for all of the subjects, and obviously national curriculum is changing next year.
Yes.
And given that your music's curriculum is so unique, what would you hope to see out of a revised national curriculum that wouldn't kind of put a bomb underneath everything that you were already doing?
No, it's a good question, and I think probably we often miss out. I think teaching generally, if done well in the early years and done in Key Stage 1, done really well, the children having those really basic understanding of things, so that they're really solid in things so they can build upon those later, would be a real priority. Children having the understanding of pitch, tempo, all the vocabulary that goes with it, as well as the different ways in which music are made. And I think for me, I mean, I don't really have all the answers to these questions, but I think having exposure to a broad range of things, as well as things that are relevant to you as a school or an area, is really important, because this is the area that they're growing up in, and they need to feel part of. They need to feel like they belong to wherever it is to come to school. It's spoke here, but it might be something else somewhere else. And I think, whether you're Morris dancing with an accordion, whatever it might be you're doing, actually, if that's important to the people of that community, then that is something that you need to incorporate some way, shape or form. And there is elements of that in the new toolkits about children feeling a sense of belonging, which is why I feel like what we've done is the right thing for the children that come to our school.
I suppose you benefit from the fact that the national curriculum for music certainly is quite vague, so you can you can adapt it to mean whatever it wants. The counter argument to that is, when you're in a school where you've got no specialists, people need a bit more support. And I suppose what would be ideal to see would be both of those things somehow being retained in the new curriculum, so that you can personalise, but there's maybe a bit more guidance for people who
Yeah, the
need
one thing
more
I
than
would
one
say
page of
is
A4?
we've had some real input from the trust, the EPO trust, and we are lucky because we've had, and I've done some work previously in what's called, continuing to do, is what's called the Inspire curriculum. So what we do at primary school, how that feeds into secondary school, so that there's not either double coverage or there's not sort of, that the secondaries are aware of what we're doing in primary, so that it's purposeful. What they're teaching is purposeful for the children that come to their school. Um, we've had that support through that, which has been brilliant. It's given good CPD for all of our staff to see what lessons look like at secondary, but also how those secondary lessons look like for us as primary. So, we've got to get them to this level because when they go to secondary, they're doing this. So that's been really, really good. And with that comes the option of working collaboratively with secondary colleagues and delivering CPD, which has been fab, but also the support that the Oxfordshire County Music Service have delivered, in terms of, for us, we've got an individual who comes and works with us, but also working closely with them has meant that our CPD as a staff team has improved immeasurably. Our subject knowledge is huge. We are now a really, well, and again, continuously improving, but we are a group of people who are continuously looking to improve our practice, and we're in a position where if an area of strength is not particularly yours, it might be somebody else's, and having that open culture among the staff team means that we can look to develop ourselves through learning from each other. And that goes across every subject, really. We've just had an example of it this morning where we've had some peers walking through and looking at maths lessons and watching each other teach. We have that open culture where we can work and develop each other.
So I often ask people about transition, actually, and it sounds like you're quite a lot further ahead than a lot of the people I speak to. Is that because your children are all going up to like a smaller number of schools, maybe, or they're going within the trust, or are you having to do that work with numerous schools?
So it depends on which school you go to, obviously, because of the location of where this particular school is. We're in right at the top of North Oxfordshire, so we actually have some children who live in Northamptonshire, some live in Warwickshire. So our cohort of kids isn't necessarily just specific to our local area. We do cross boundaries, which means that a lot of our children go to very differing secondary schools. So it's something that we've sort of done initially with trust secondaries. So the EPA have Bartholomew and Hayford that are. Hayford is a through school, but Bartholomew is the local secondary school towards Ensham, so a little bit of a distance from us here. But their specialists are there within the trust, and the trust are very, very supportive of us. And if we reach out to them to support us and our development of our teachers, then they will guide us in the right direction. It might just be pointing out resources. It might be where you can get some CPD from, and that may well be a member of their teaching team to come across to us and supporting these things as well. So yeah, it's a really good collaborative effort to ensure that what we're doing is right for the children.
So you've obviously put a lot of time and investment into music at a time when you were also obviously coming in new to role, trying to kind of pretty much change everything. I know what the answers to this is going to be, but for the benefit of other people who may be in the same position, do you feel like it's worth it? Do you feel like that's been an important part of the process?
I would absolutely say it's worth it. If you or I think back to your most important or most memorable days of primary school, it will be the things that really made a certain teacher or a certain thing that really made you tick with your learning. And I think we offer such a broad curriculum here but it's not just broad, it's really broad, balanced, and with subject specific specialists in it that or people that we can call upon, that we can really sort of dive into that learning and go into it deeper so they can master new skills, concepts and understanding. And our curriculum builds like that, so they are able to do that. Each year builds upon each thing. So yes, it is an awful lot of work, but it is absolutely something that I would recommend doing. It may well take a bit of time, but if you've got supportive colleagues or a trust behind you that are really sort of advocating what you're doing, then I can't see it being a negative at all. you get the results in the end, as is clear from what we're achieving academically, as well as the sort of wider curriculum offered from us.
Mm. So you're already doing loads of stuff, but
Yeah.
what's next for music in your school?
Well, I mean, where couldn't we go? Really, I suppose is the question. I suppose there is more folk-based festivals that we could have our eye on. That could be something that we could do a little bit more to broaden the folk music, so it's not just so bespoke to the area here, and getting them exposed to different artists internationally even. I think it's, for us as a school, it's really solidifying those real basics in terms of music, vocabulary, knowledge, skills, so that they're really solid when new people come in. It's development of the CPD. So it's stuff we're doing, but at a sort of a bit more of a level. So other things that we could do but have started to do is work alongside the Oxfordshire County Music Service a bit more, and we're actually using music in a different way. So we're actually using music for well-being. So we're looking at children who perhaps we might be a little bit concerned about their well-being, or they actually just need a little bit of a confidence boost, and we don't necessarily do that through the usual ways. We offer music for well-being to improve that confidence for those children. And again, we're about a couple of weeks into doing that, and we've seen immeasurable results within the class that the teachers have come to me and said, do you know what, so-and-so is really, really flying since they've been going to those music lessons. So having that opportunity for them to, showcase what they can do, come out of their shell a little bit, perhaps not in the usual sort of classroom environment, we've seen have a knock-on effect. And I think that's the thing, is we're constantly developing, and having those opportunities for teachers to utilize music in a different way through their teaching is hopefully going to mean that children come out of it continuing to learn really, really well.
I love that. I love that you've got the balance there, because often people are like, music is either for well-being or it's like an academic subject, and you've
Yeah,
managed to get both ends of the spectrum in there.
it's a really important part of it, and you're looking at the positives of music for those children. And I'm not suggesting, like I said before, that they're going to go on and be, you know, playing in an orchestra every week, but they need to have, I think it's important that they have a basic understanding of music, but also, like you say, about how music can improve your well-being, improve your confidence. You can learn through music, and all these things are opportunities for our children that we are responsible for and putting on. And it's something that I think we should be really proud of and develop, but also continue to develop further, because we're not there yet, and we're always on this constant journey to keep striving for a little bit more.
So, if you had one piece of advice to give another head teacher in your position, or maybe not quite in your position, maybe not with so many hats on,
Yeah.
who wanted to improve music in their school, what would it be?
It would probably be to look at well, I suppose, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't throw everything out that you've got, which you might feel is working. But then once you've got a sort of elicitation of where you might be, of the knowledge and skills of your staff and stuff, having a look at what support and resources are out there, because there are support and resources out there. The trust have been brilliant to me and to the school in terms of supporting us. So the EPA have been fab, but also Oxfordshire County Music Service, and actually welcoming these people in. They will come and sit and work with you and support you in what you're trying and enhance the provision that what you're doing. And there is support out there. It's just putting it to the forefront of your mind, because in the long run, it will benefit the well-being and achievement of your children.
Nicely put. Thank you very much.
That's right.
And so are your students going to be performing at the festival this year?
Yes, so 2026 I'm just finalising a few details with the festival organiser, Gareth, who's brilliant, again, local, who's supported me in getting this pipe dream of, let's get folk music into, why can't we play at the festival, to sort of us having a hugely successful performance last summer, which then is going to be repeated this year. So yeah, we are there again this year. And again, as long as it's beneficial for the children and enhancing their understanding and learning of music and their community they're part of, then why not? Sounds good to me.
Well, all the best with it. I'm sure it'll go really, really well. It's been fascinating to talk to you. Never in a million years did I think I would get a school coming to me saying I want to talk about folk music in the primary curriculum. And it's I think it'll give lots of people real food for thought. So yes, thank you for your time and good luck with everything.
No problem.
And once again, thank you for being on Primary Music in Conversation.
No problem. Thank you.
Never in a million years did I think I would be talking to a primary school about how they've centred local folk music within their curriculum. What a fantastic idea. And I think Will's passion for music in general, but also for that kind of rooting children in their local environment really came across there. And then the fact that they're also looking outward and, you know, they've chosen Mandarin as their modern foreign language. So we've got the local, we've got the international, about as far international as you could possibly be, all kind of encapsulated within that school community. I think it's a really exciting and innovative approach to education there, and I'm sure the children at Cropredy are really feeling that they're getting the best of everything in that school, especially being able to have canoeing lessons instead of normal PE. I mean, come on. Amazing stuff. If you have been inspired by listening to that episode, you can listen to all of our previous episodes, season 1 and season 2. You'll find them in the same place, whatever podcast app you're on, or whether you're on YouTube. We've also got another 4 episodes coming up to take us to the end of term in season 3. They come out every Monday, so do make sure you subscribe and like and follow so that you can get those automatically bounced into your podcast app. There's information in the podcast notes or underneath the video on YouTube about how to subscribe to our mailing list so that you'll hear about all the things that we do as a wider company, Music Education Solutions. And you can talk to us on our socials. Please do get in touch. We'd love to hear what you think. Continue the conversation there. We are at Music Ed Solution on Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram. And we are Music Education Solutions Limited on Facebook and Music Education Solutions without the limited on LinkedIn. You will be able to find us on any of those platforms, and please do get in touch. We'd like to thank Da Capo Online for supporting this episode of Primary Music in Conversation. Its unique age-appropriate songs, timeless illustrations and many hours of versatile materials is now available with no planning needed. If you're a music educator looking for a comprehensive, easy to use and fun resource to develop your children's musical skills whilst giving you flexibility and full control of their music learning, visit dacapoonline.co.uk to find out more. Primary Music in Conversation is presented by Dr. Liz Stafford, edited by Kay Charlton and produced by Music Education Solutions.